In the last video, we went over the roller coaster that was Yu-Gi-Oh's life, a sad, bumpy ride leading to a brilliant finality. But today we change the pace and look at someone who is a little less interesting in comparison, Silica. Silica may not be overly interesting as we don't get much time with her, but there is a very unique trait about her. She's a beast tamer. That cute little blue dragon that is always with her wasn't granted but was earned by sheer luck. We know how she got Pina. Silica was approached by the monster, fed it a nut, and then boom, just like that she had a tamed monster. But I want to know, what are the actual odds of this happening? We know that others had tried to get a dragon, the same as Silica's, but with no luck at all. There isn't even another noted instance of a player with a tamed beast as far as we know, just the knowledge that beast tamers existed. Using some estimates and numbers from the source material, we can see just how rare it was for Silica to obtain Pina. Our first statistic is the most important, so thankfully it is provided and won't have to be a complete guess. At one point, Kirito says that he would put an estimate of the types of monsters from floor 1 to 75 at 1500. Let's assume that doesn't include bosses. So if we have 1500 monsters and we divide that by 75 floors, we're left with 20 monsters per floor. Using that info, we can figure out that all 100 floors will have about 2000 total monsters. But stop right there. It's not just any monster that can be tamed. It has to be a small animal type monster. This is a little more of a chore to calculate because now we need to guess how many small animal type monsters there are. Luckily, Kirito gives us a clue by stating that there are only a few species of these monsters. What does a few actually mean though? A few is often defined as a minute amount in comparison to the whole pie. If we are to take an accurate guess, we can say that anywhere from 1 to 5% of the total population of monsters would be a few. Let's be fair and take the middle number of 3% as a benefit of the doubt. 3% of the total 2000 monster population brings us to 60 monsters. This number seems a little high for being described as a few, but again we're going by estimates. I don't want any of my opinions to skew the statistics. Now we have our number for small animal type monsters, 60. But it doesn't stop there. Pina is a feathered little dragon and is described as a rare monster. How do we figure out what a rare encounter chance is? Well, with the data that there are 20 monster types per floor, we can make a fairly accurate assessment. Using knowledge from other RPGs, we can presume that roughly 10 of these are common and 5 uncommon, with about 3 to 4 being rare and 1 to 2 being super rare. If saying that 4 of the 20 monsters you come across will be rare, that means that the rare encounter rate would be about 20%. I know this isn't entirely precise, as developers will simply slap a percentage into that category depending on what they think is a good number for a rare opportunity, but I don't want to assume that number and want to go off statistics alone. With our newly gained knowledge, we can take 20% of our 60 small animal type monsters and get a measly 12%. A 12% chance to encounter a rare, tameable monster within the game. That may be low, but now we actually need to understand how difficult it would be to tame one of these monsters. The info regarding beast tamers is slim, but we know a few things. Taming a monster isn't as easy as approaching it with a food it enjoys. The player doing the taming has had to have encountered the monster type multiple times without attacking it for the highest chance of the beast not being hostile. With how few players actually have a familiar by their side, Silica being the only character actually named, we'll have to assume that there needs to be a lot of non-hostile encounters. Factoring in that players went out and actively tried to get a beast by their side, we can probably put this encounter rate between 25 to 75 times. These numbers are based solely on the fact that the act of beast taming is actively attempted, but is very rarely achieved. Again, to give the benefit of the doubt, we'll go ahead and say it only takes an average of 25 non-hostile encounters for the beast to not act with aggression. That puts our friendly encounter chance at 4%. Lastly, before we reach our final percentage, we need to talk about food for the beast. All we know in this regard is that a monster has a favorite food. We don't know if there are different chances based on certain types of food, but that is the most likely situation. Obviously, Sword Art Online has a boatload of food options, but for a beast, these are most likely very natural items. Nuts, berries, fish, these kind of items. There's no way to know how many of these food items there actually are, although it should be a safe bet to put that number around 20 to 40. There really wouldn't be a need for a ton of these types of foods. While Pina had a favorite food, we should give the game the benefit of the doubt a third time and say that there are multiple food items that Pina would have been attracted to. But we're going off as many facts as we can muster, so we're going to say that there's only one item that can grant the taming of a beast. We'll also go ahead and put the food number at 20 as to not highball the actual number. So a 1 out of 20 chance equals 5%. We now have all the data we need. A 12% chance to actually encounter a rare small monster with the option of taming, a 4% chance of the monster not acting aggressively toward the player, and lastly a 5% chance that you've acquired the correct food for the beast. Multiply all of these chances into a final percentage to give us a 0.024%. The chances of Silica obtaining Pina were only around 0.024%, and she managed to obtain the beast by pure luck. The best of friends between a troubled 12-year-old girl and a tiny little blue AI dragon came to be by an exceptionally lucky scenario and a meager 0.024% chance. Beast taming in games is always my playstyle when it is available, which is usually rarely, so I thought I'd do a deep dive into the beast taming of SAO to see how hard it truly was for Silica to obtain her best friend Pina. If you have any SAO questions or video ideas, leave them in the comments below, and if I like the premise, I'll make it into a video. Thanks for watching the video, and hey, if you enjoyed it, a like and a subscription help out a ton, plus they're free. So long.